So Brand New Day came out and I loved it, but I have like questions about it. It was a great movie. This again, I'm not taking away from the movie. It was just a lot of questions that I didn't know if I missed. I've only watched it one time. I know a lot of people have watched it millions of times. I don't know if I missed it or I talked about in the video that there was I think they could have done something different with more bad guys and stuff. And some guy made a video almost talking about exactly what I said and talk about subbing the Hulk out for Kurt Connors. And it actually would have been, I think, a smarter idea to get the Lizard in it because he mentioned the Punisher could actually hurt the Lizard. Kurt Connors could have been one of the guys he caught in the beginning, and then he knew he worked with mutation, and it was actually a really smart idea. But again, that's just the thing that was thrown out there. But anyway, so okay, Damage Control. Damage Control was just, first of all, it's just a goofy comic. It was a goofy comic that just did dumb things. Then they decided to bring it in as a cleanup crew that I think it just was mainly in Homecoming that they picked up garbage from I'll say wrestling from superhero things, and then it was like their thing. They got them and either sold them or whatever they did. I don't know. They didn't really make it clear. The comic was a lot more goofier, so I can't really say too much about how close it was to the comic. But then it got to No Way Home where they're like investigating Peter. So I'm like, okay, so now they're getting into where they're going after superpowered people, and then this is like they're trying to get like people with powers and transfer them, which they never explain really how they're going to transfer Jean Grey's power to other people because it's useful, and they're doing it with Sarah, her sister, but it wasn't working, so they had to try it with Jean because something she must have died during it. So I don't know what would make them think Jean would work again. They didn't really explain that like we messed up, we had to fix things. I guess it doesn't need to be said maybe, but I was just more confused. Did they say something and I missed it? And I don't know. I just didn't quite understand what Damage Control turned into. I was thinking to myself, is Hydra and AIM like gone now because we used them up already? So there's no organization, and it just, I don't know. It was just weird to see Damage Control as this big huge threat, and I don't know. It was weird because like when I saw Tombstone in the pictures and stuff, I didn't know he was gonna be just a clip. And I talked about in another video, I wanted there to be another bad guy really in it, but like I said, I get it. There's a lot going on. It'd be hard. But the Lizard idea the guy put out there actually would have made sense because he could have stayed around like the Hulk, more than the Hulk did. And you would have got another villain that stayed around kind of. Maybe more in lizard form or something happens. So not only does he need to get an adapter on Jean, he needs one on him, and maybe it changed the story, make it too confusing. But with Tombstone, I really thought we're going to have something bigger going on in him using the hand. And the fact that they used the hand, it was really weird to me. Like, the hand was left over from the Defenders TV show. And again, they don't really connect the TV shows that well. Besides Daredevil has, Charlie Cox, Daredevil has shown up in multiple Spider-Man movies. And so these hands were left over, and from, again, maybe it's me being a comic nerd, they like swore a vow, and they're like very dedicated ninjas, assassins that follow what's her name, Madam something, and now she's not there. So do they find the new leader, or they just got picked up by Damage Control and usually have like they're very helpful for us? I just don't see the ninjas being like, okay, we're here, we're cool, I mean, you pay us, you feed us. I don't know, it was just a weird vibe. I thought it'd be better if it was like an underworld thing where they got somehow tied up with the organized crime in the world underground that was mixing with the shady deals with their boss, and somehow they were left there to use while they had a new boss. I don't know. Or Tombstone became the new boss for just Damage Control to say, yo, don't worry about them, we got them and we use them. It was just really weird. I don't know how I felt about it because I was excited for the hand, but to me, I just didn't get, do they explain more than like, we're using the hand now, that's it? Like, I don't know, was there anything else directing how the hand got there? Why are they using them? Like, they're very loyal to us now or something. Like, how did this all come to me? Now, again, this might be something that, oh, don't worry about, it happened off screen. I just hate things like that. I always talk about that, like Infinity War. How did how did Thanos get everyone there without Pym particles? And the Russos were like, Ebony Maw's a smart guy, I'm sure he would have figured out something. I hate that. That's such a cop out to just say, oh, this happened off screen. I don't like that in movies. So I just really wanted to more understand why the Hood was there and why I wanted a big bad, but damage control being the big bag. It seemed like, talking to my wife, she's like, well, he was the bad guy. And I was like, yeah, that just kind of sucks, him being the bad guy. But it kind of was Jean Sentry type of thing, where she's kind of the bad guy, but just misunderstood. I liked it. It was a good story. Like, again, I'm not taking away from the movie. The movie was good. It was just some things I had a little confusion on. And, like, the hand and stuff was, like, one of them. Like, them recruiting him. And we only know them from the Netflix series, and where did they come from, and why was there only like 8 members left over? Did everyone else die in the rubble during that Daredevil season? And that was Daredevil Netflix season, I believe, because that was Avengers Defenders, I think. Yeah, so I don't know. And then with Peter's mutation was another thing. So I get it. I thought they were trying to cover The Other, which is a comic I talk about in my recap of Brand New Day. But they weren't going for that, actually. And they weren't going for the 6-arm Spider-Man, Man-Spider, thank God. People were like, oh, it's going to come, I hope. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see Holland with extra arms. It just will look bad and goofy. And we've already had our run with bad CGI in Marvel movies, and it hasn't been the greatest. So I didn't want to see that happen again. But yeah, I was kind of weirded out about the story. So it seems, again, maybe I missed things. So it could be, but the whole mutation thing, it just... biologically, maybe I'm looking too much into it, just didn't make sense. So his arachnid blood was like up here high, and the whole point was when you put the thing on him, it leveled it back out. So when he leveled it back out, no black eyes, no organic web, no crazy strength or whatever he was. And okay, that makes sense, I get it. So established that it made him more like emotional. It almost was like the symbiote in a way. It made him a little more crazier. He didn't hold his punches. The hormones were really affecting him and increasing his like unstableness. And then he used finally with the what's it called, the Bruce's inhibitor. We get to see that, which I don't get. Is that a whole thing too? All right, real quick. The Hulk thing, I don't get. He says, I think there's a kill switch on it or something like that. There's a backup. And so when he does get it knocked off, he's Professor Hulk, which is odd that he doesn't want to be Professor Hulk. Because at this time, Professor Hulk saved the world. Everyone knows who Professor Hulk is. He was seen taking pictures with the kids at Endgame. He has an ice cream named after him. He's very, very famous. Why is he trying not to be walking around as Professor Hulk? It seems like, why is he hiding that? I don't know if they're going to explain that, or if there's a story. Again, did I miss something? I don't know. Because then he's Professor Hulk, mind controlled. Then out of nowhere, he turns into Super Big Hulk, and the thing's not on him at that time as well. Then I think him and Hulk had a agreement that, we're both working the same. We had a talk. Same thing he said in Endgame. We're good. We're good. So what made that agreement go away during the mind control? Did something get knocked loose? Because the agreement wasn't there no more. Hulk just was like whatever, or he doesn't remember it. And how did he change? Was it because Jean Grey, again, I might have missed it, Jean Grey went in stronger and it enraged him more? I just feel like it wasn't too clear, at least what I saw. Again, I could have missed it, that how quick he went from Professor to the regular one compared to the storyline we had, how he became the Professor Hulk. Because granted, I do want Savage Hulk. I don't want Professor Hulk. Just because I think they... or what do they call him? Smart Hulk. In the comics, he's Professor Hulk, and he's badass as Professor Hulk. But they call him like Smart Hulk, I think, in the movie, or the fans do. But I didn't quite understand that, and it was kind of frustrating trying to follow that. But anyways, so we're using that thing to stabilize him, and it doesn't like it suppresses Peter. But he's kind of out of control. When he doesn't have it, he can't really control it. And it feels weird. So it's like, it's unstable. The arachnid blood is going too high. He's stabling it. So my question is like, so for Peter to make an arachnid mutation stop, did he just have to accept it? Because that's kind of what happens. And when he accepted it, does that level the... Because I'm thinking biology. Because like my wife was saying, yeah, if he accepts it, he's confident now and he feels this way. But I'm like, I get that. But biology-wise, maybe I'm looking too much into it. if his blood is up as an arachnid and you're like, I accept this, let's say it puts it back to even because he's comfortable with it. But then he wouldn't have organic web because he's not up here no more. He wouldn't have organic web. He wouldn't have the cocoon, and he wouldn't have all the crazy stuff he had, the strength, the stronger strength, and all that. But he had all that still. He did the whole sick little tornado web thing. He wouldn't have that if he calmed it down and they became one. But if he let it stay high, he would keep all those. But that means he wasn't in control. So did the human blood go up to that? But it wouldn't make sense because you know what I'm saying? Like the blood, the hormones, all that. Like it just, again, I get it's a movie, it's a comic book movie, but I'm just trying to figure out things. Like my brain goes this way with superheroes, so I'm trying to figure out, did I miss something or what? So I'm like, biology wise, it doesn't make sense for you to just say I accept who I am, I'm both, and then all of a sudden your biology changes and your blood lowers on the arachnid for you to lose the black eyes, be normal, but then still have those same powers you would have of the higher one. And I could get that where you're saying, oh, he accepted it, that's why he has higher powers now, or all those powers in organic webbing, that's why he can do that now. But it's like, but biology wise, they wouldn't go down, or they wouldn't stay up to have those abilities. That's why he has them, is because they're so high up. So I don't know. I get some things you got to throw out the window, but this one I was just really confused. Because Spider-Man 2, I hated it. I hated that he got stressed, and that's why he lost his powers. That was stupid. If Spider-Man got stressed to lose his powers, he would never have his powers. Peter Parker is under a million times stress, I should say. And he would lose his powers all the time. So that story element was really dumb for me. People love Spider-Man 2. I get it. I understand. That was so stupid. He lost his powers because he was stressed out. Oh, my back. And then he eats hot dogs watching people go kill people or whatever. And then finally he gets mad and crushes his glasses. I can see again now, and I'm going to go fight Doc Ock. I'm okay now. It was stupid. I don't care what people say or try to defend it. There was no reason. He's not stressful no more. That's why he's fine. What? He could be stressed at McDonald's with their order and then he loses his powers? Like, so now he's never going to be stressed? Because that's what they said. It was stress. That's what it was. It was he had too much going on. So you're telling me anytime Spider-Man number 2, or Spider-Man number 2, that's actually who he is, gets stressed out, he loses his powers? No, he's confident now. He's always confident. He should have never lost his powers in the first place. Don't get it. Don't want to get into it. And I don't know. Maybe I missed something and I overlooked it. Or again, I'm just looking too much into it and I need to shut up and watch a movie. I don't do that. Only with like Fast and the Furious and Transformers. I'll be secretive with you guys. When I watch those, I turn my brain off. Like Vin Diesel flying like 50 feet, landing on a like shield or a windshield of a car, and he's not a superhero and he's okay. I just let it go because it's not a smart movie. But superhero movies, I go, suspension of belief for some parts, but some things, the story needs to make a little sense for me. And I don't want there to be parts where like, wait a minute. And there are always going to be parts like that. Even like I said with Endgame, there was a lot of parts where you're like, wait a minute. And there's tons of movies that do that. But like Endgame was one of the ones I was like, but I still love Endgame too, and I still love Brand New Day. Then Bruce Banner. Okay, so we don't know what quite happened with Bruce Banner. We don't know why he doesn't want to be Smart Hulk or what happened between that. We never got an explanation, but what I don't get is, so he turns into the Hulk. Supposedly Bruce doesn't know when he's the Hulk, and I was just watching the Avengers 1 today, and it was on, again, always FX is playing them, and I'll put it on. Anytime Marvel's on, I'll just put it on. Even Quantumania, alright? But he does say something, and like, was everyone okay? I think after the first fight, or when he breaks out and he's chasing Black Widow. So it clearly seems like he doesn't remember when he's Savage Hulk, which kind of sucks because I feel like Bruce in the comics does and is aware. Maybe he's not in the driver's seat, but he is the passenger, I always felt like. But in this one, it was, he was the best of both worlds. Then all of a sudden, he's not Professor Hulk anymore. He turned to the Savage Hulk. He should have killed Spider-Man. That's one thing that made me like, this should have happened. But you let it go because it's a movie. But Hulk squeezing Spider-Man's head, if he's using all his strength, it would be mush. Spider-Man doesn't have a metal super vibranium head. It's a human head. He's got super strength. He don't got super bones. You know, he heals probably better than others, of course. But Hulk squeezing his head, I was like, oh my god, this should pop. But again, since your suspension of belief goes out the window, because I get it, super movie with that kind of things. But so he is Hulk, and he's squeezing his head, and he's like, Bruce, come on, Bruce. Like, he's trying to talk to Bruce in there. And Hulk looks in the mirror, sees himself, and it almost feels like Bruce is looking at himself like, I'm a monster. But Bruce doesn't know any of this. Is it the Hulk that's looking at himself and thinks I'm a monster? But the Hulk wants to be the monster. Hulk wants to be the Hulk, it seems like. No more Banner. Don't no Banner. So it took away the whole story for me of what's going on with Hulk. And I almost feel like they should have put Hulk in because it made it really confusing for Hulk's arc. I get it. We don't got all the rights to him. We can make movies with him, but not a full movie because Universal gets some money or whatever, all that happens. Again, we have some rights for him. I say we as in Marvel, but at the same time, I understand that's why we don't ever get a solo Hulk movie. And I think it's great to splash him in everywhere. This movie was great to just feel like it was a comic. Like, we had Black Widow, we had, 3 random villains, then we had Hulk, we had Punisher. It was just really cool to see all these team ups and all that. But Hulk was definitely fan service. Like, he was there to make us all happy to see Savage Hulk again. They knew the fans wanted to see Savage Hulk, let's be honest. So it was definitely fan service. Am I mad about it? No, it is what it is. But could they use someone else like the Lizard, like the guy said? 100%. But so I'm like, why did they do all this? And it's ruined the story, the arc of Hulk that we're trying to follow through all these other movies. Because Hulk does have a story. If you watch all his movies, and they've said it before, they gave him his own trilogy if you pay attention to each movie he's in. Like Avengers, Age of Ultron, and then Ragnarok. That's kind of his story, if you watch how the flow is. Banner story. And if you think of them all like that, it actually is a pretty good trilogy. People hate Ragnarok. I don't know why. Oh, why Tiki Watati? I don't like him or whatever. Screw it. I don't care for the guy. I love the movie. I think it's great. I love Thor and Hulk together. Humor's great, but that's a different story. So Hulk letting go. Why? Why did Hulk let go? Was he upset at himself? Hulk wants to be Hulk, and clearly when he drops, he turns back to Banner, and Banner doesn't know what happened. Banner says, did I hurt anybody? Is everyone okay? And he didn't know. So Bruce wasn't in his head at that moment. That was Hulk looking at himself in the mirror. And Hulk was ashamed of himself for being Hulk. I don't get it. And everyone kept saying, maybe he's going to remember Peter. Hulk never was with Peter through any of the Avengers. Only time he saw Peter was at the Endgame, if he saw him out of the crowd. Other than that, they never crossed paths, ever, in the movie. You can look it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, Spidey goes to space, and we never see any of that going on. And I think Hulk's not even in. Oh, he gets beat. That's right. He gets beat up in the beginning of Endgame. So no, Hulk's not there. They send Bruce, but Hulk won't come out. And I get it, story-wise, they couldn't, because if they had a strong Hulk, he'd be beating the shit out of everybody. Anyways, back to the whole thing. I don't get why he dropped himself, and what was he upset about, and what were we trying to achieve there? And the biggest thing is they stray jacket up Bruce Banner, and I think they say they're taking them to a psych ward. So this, I know I heard. If it wasn't a psych ward, it was a hospital. Why? When Hulk gets captured, they usually get a huge thing to lock him up in. I mean, look at Avengers. I was watching today. They have a huge thing to put him in. And Banner even doesn't like it, which is weird to me, because maybe he just warms up to it because he helps Tony create Veronica if he ever gets out of hand for Tony to take care of him. So at this point, you think he would have something in the back of his hand, or back of his pocket, I guess you could say. Other organizations, I know Cap isn't around, Tony's dead, so I don't know who would be in charge of doing that, but you'd think there would be someone. It is kind of weird with the Avengers being broken up, trying to understand where all the others are at right now. Where's everybody? Where's Sam? What's going on? Again, this is grounded, so they don't have to be involved in this. But as far as Hulk being involved, you think people would be reporting back for Hulk, or Hulk would be leaving, like, in a big, or Bruce Banner would be locked up, like, in the comics, they lock him up in, all these little weird machines that he can't leave or turn into the Hulk. Nothing. He was just, I think he was straitjacketed. I only watched it once in going into an ambulance, and it's like, and he's yelling, "Is anyone hurt?" And it's like, if he gets pissed off, he's just gonna break out of that ambulance. Like, I don't logically, again, some of these things I could turn my head away from, but this I know for sure I saw, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way they handled it, and again, it made me think maybe they shouldn't have put Hulk in this because it makes things complicated, and people like me that are probably annoying that go, hey, the comics like this or other movies are like this. I'm sorry, I keep tabs, I keep track. It's just a thing I do with superhero movies. I love these things, and if there's flaws in it, I will point them out. I will not stand on the hill and say everything is perfect, because there are people that are fans, Snyder people, that I think there's even gun people now that will sit there and make it like everything is perfect, nothing could go wrong, and that's not true. Things happen. There's plot holes in a lot of things, and this was one of them that I'm like, he could just turn angry and turn the Hulk again. Why isn't he worried about turning the Hulk again? Clearly able to. But then they mentioned on the news they're taking Professor Banner to, I swear they said a psych ward or the hospital, but I swear it was a psych ward. If it's a psych ward, why would you put Hulk, Bruce Banner, famous guy, won the Avengers, saved the world, had an ice cream named after him? He wouldn't have a special facility to go to when he turns into the Hulk. If that's like, they don't got a fail safe. It's just weird. And why would you put him in another building that he could turn into the Hulk and no one could stop him? It'd even make more sense if they were going to take him to the raft or something like that, where they had Abomination, something like that. But it's still a risk transferring him without him being contained in some way. So for me, it just was a weird thing with Hulk from the beginning to the end of his part. From him being Professor Hulk, don't really understand why he was afraid to be Professor Hulk. From him turning into Crazy Hulk, Savage Hulk, I should say. Did Gene switch something to make the agreement go off, or Savage Hulk forgot about the agreement because best of two worlds? He says best of two worlds. So he got the brain and the bronze. Did Savage Hulk forget that and just was angry? No more Banner. He hates Banner now all of a sudden. And this movie, again, it was fan service because we were tired of Professor Hulk and we wanted to see Savage Hulk again, and they gave it to us, which is great. I'm happy for that. Again, still like Brand New Day. It's a good movie, but it just made me not understand why would you bring him in and bring so much confusion with him, because I would think any moviegoer, any MCU follower would have questions like, why did he do this? Why do that? Because if you just ignore it, it kind of seems silly. You're kind of playing yourself to be a dum-dum in a way. I feel like, not to be rude, I feel like you're playing like you're a dummy about it. Like, oh well, that happened. I don't care. But we're following Hulk's arc through these movies. We're following his story. So for him to get to this point, what happened? Just like in Age of Ultron, he was sad. He left. He didn't feel like he could fit in. With this, he looked upset. He let go. But then we see Bruce, he doesn't remember anything, he's getting taken away. So I don't know, I just feel like it was a whole thing with Hulk that they should have not even dealt with. And then one of the things I really didn't like is the VMAX thing. Like, I don't even know Sarah must have died, right? That's what they made it like as a sacrifice, basically. They made hints to it. And I don't think they straight up said, we murk Sarah. But they heavily laid it on thick that Sarah died. Funny thing is, Jean Grey actually does have a sister named Sarah that I saw that it's not mutant, but she is a sister in the comics. It's in the older comics. Nothing like 90s stuff, but who knows? She could have made it to the 90s, but the stuff I saw was older. But so Sarah was a weird element to throw in, but I get it to why we needed her and why it was a drive for Jean. But the VMAX thing really bugged me, because I thought it was going to be some crazy thing, is like, VMAX is like some chemical, or I think we were supposed to all think that, like it was some symbiote hidden somewhere or something like that, that was like they're hiding, and maybe it wasn't dealing with the storyline. It was going to set up the next storyline where she saw something that they were hiding or something like that. But I only thing I could think of is Sarah looked up and was dying, and she's trying to reach out to her sister, and she's basically going out of consciousness and looks up and is just saying what she thinks is saying VMAX. That's the only thing I can think of how it worked, and that's why she heard the word VMAX. If it was her trying to signal her sister to come there, that would make no sense, because she's been searching for the word VMAX. I don't know if Sarah said VMAX come to it, or I doubt she said that, because that'd be stupid. But that clue, I don't think was ultimately the setup for her to find the VMAX. Because if she found the VMAX, that means Jean would have to be locked up in the same position and looking up in torture and pain, looking up at the air condition. So it could have been a hint to like, you need to be here, because for her to be there, she'd have to be caught. She'd have to be dying and looking up to see it. So if it was a clue to say, come find me, there would be no clues to look around to see a VMAX. That's the only way you could have seen it, is in pain, looking up. Unless she's caught and looking up, I guess. But the whole point is she would have to be caught. So I'm hoping what they're trying to say is that maybe she was in and out of consciousness and just like seeing things around her, and she just is like VMAX, and she sees it and dies. That makes the most logical sense, because other than that, I was just like, please don't make it like you were trying to give them signals of where to find you or whatnot, because it just seemed really, really silly for that to be a huge setup. And I get it was like this a ploy to get us to get thrown off that, oh, she's been looking for something that never was really there. Kind of sucked to lead up to that, but I'd rather have been something visual that we could see in the eyes somewhere, that it would make sense that maybe she was giving her a clue where she was at, instead of you have to look up and be chained up to see this again, unless she was like passing out and she was like, you know, that's the last thing she could think of and stuff. But I mean, the movie was good. I like the movie. I'm still digesting if I like it more than No Way Home. Far from No Way Home. And I've already made my battles on my Spider-Man videos. It's just hard. I think it's just really hard because No Way Home did a lot in one movie, and it had help from a lot of other stuff. It doesn't hurt that they bring back old Spider-Man either, and old villains that made him way cooler than any other movie made him. But this movie was good. It was, it was grounded, but for it being grounded, a lot of big things were happening. I mean, we have Hulk dealing with, mutation. We have Black Widow doing groundwork with the Avengers. So I would think they would have something for Hulk, or Hulk would be in contact with them. I don't like the idea that they're the Avengers. I really hated that in Thunderbolts. I thought it was going to be just kind of a joke thing, like, oh, we're the Avengers. And at the end, it was kind of jokey with Red Guardian having Avengers with a Z, and I get it. And now that they're like, oh, we're the Avengers now, or whatever, big potatoes, I just don't like them as the Avengers. It doesn't feel right. Hopefully in Doomsday it'll be a conflict with Sam. I heard it's supposed to be, and I wanted a movie with a new Avenger team. Like we get, like the new Avengers happened in the comic book, where we got Spider-Man, Wolverine joining, Sentry joined. It was a lot different team, and I wanted us to get Sam having his own team, even if we didn't love his team. I wanted him to have another Avenger team, like a West Coast Avengers. We got another team in the comics. We may not have loved them. I think West Coast Avengers were cool, but we may not love them. But at least let them get their own movie to shine, get an Avenger movie to shine, and not worry about it. Just throwing the Thunderbolts at it just doesn't feel right, and I already feel like some are going to get killed off in Doomsday. Will they get resurrected because Doctor Doom's going to resurrect everybody for Battle World or Secret Wars? I don't know. But, I'm genuinely asking these questions not to insult the movie, not to make it like I'm some big dum-dum, and not to call other people dum-dums. Like I said earlier, I don't mean that. It's just like, I would think some things you would be like, wait a second, and I don't expect you just to ignore it. I would hope that things that do come up, you question it, because we shouldn't always be fed things and just swallow it. We should always, again, we are spoiled. I'll say that a million times. We're spoiled. We're getting so many movies that are really, really good compared to what we were getting back with Raimi and X-Men, and, it was just a different time, Fantastic Four, and now we get everything that's big budget blockbusters, and Spider-Man's about to hit like $1 billion or something, I think. Who knows? I may be off, but it's just, we're very, very, very lucky. So there's not much we should complain about. But now they're up to that par where you kind of can question things, because you set the bar so high. We don't want to see things mess up, or we don't want to see things not get the perfect attention. But I do believe they put a lot into this. I do believe there's a lot of heart in it. I did love seeing the Punisher doing his thing in it. I didn't have no mix-ups with the Punisher, understanding why he did this, why he did that. Jean Grey, I didn't really like her as a villain, but I get it. The motives made sense. There was no confusion in that besides the VMAX. It was a lot to do with Spider-Man's mutation, and a lot to do with Hulk, and a lot to do with damage control. In the hand, I guess, because it connects to damage control. So the hand, damage control, the VMAX thing, and then Spider-Man's mutation were the ones that I really didn't quite understand. And again, if you guys have factual facts that what happened in it, that's fine. I mean, you have theories, and I wouldn't mind hearing theories, but I think that's what I'm going off right now. But some I'm just like, why did Hulk drop? Why are they taking him to the psych ward? Like, it just doesn't make sense. But tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys know. And we'll talk more about Brand New Day, because I'm sure more theories are going to come up and more fun stuff. And it was a good movie. It was a really good movie. It's just some things got me confused, and some things I dug deeper into. And that's just how I am with movies. I enjoy movies, and I like to kind of not just soak it up and be like, oh, I'm done. I digest it. I like to think about things. I like to think, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Is that bad as a moviegoer? Maybe, but that's what I do when I watch movies. It's just how I am. And don't mean to be a bummer like that, but it's just how I watch movies. I don't just accept everything at value. I've been following these stories of all these characters, and I wanted to know where things went. Where are they going, and how is their character being treated, and all that. So, why are the hand here? Is there another plot with the hand coming? It's just weird that Damage Control just picked up 8 random hand members from Avengers Defender Netflix show, and they're here still. So just, again, don't mean to be a stickler, but I just would like some answers sometimes. And if there is no answers, it kind of sucks, but you let it go because it was a good movie. But anyways, that's it. We'll talk about Brand New Day later.